My name is Eppich and I'm here with Eppich Archery Co. and I have the brand new HOYT ECLIPSE. It is the marketed for small archers women's bow that HOYT just barely dropped. And I am excited to tell you all about what I love and maybe what I don't love and why I chose this stunner of a bow. Check that out. It comes in multiple colors. The first thing that I wanted to go over was the specs. Let's get those out of the way. This bow is a 29-inch axle to axle. It has a 6 3/4 inch brace height. It comes in 2 cam sizes. So I have the smaller cams, which are 23.5 to 25.5 inch draw length. And then they also have another cam that goes from 26 to 28. So it really is for the small framed archery crowd. It fits me perfectly. I am a 25 3/4 inch draw. So deciding on a draw length with this bow was a little bit tricky, but I'm really happy I went with the 25.5. It comes in several limb poundage weights. So you can get 20 to 30 pound limbs, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, and 50 to 60. Now it doesn't go above 60. That is because they shaved this beautiful aluminum riser down to a mere 3.7 pounds. That is awesome. But because of that, HOYT is extremely particular about the quality of their bows. They run every bow that they produce through a 1500 dry fire test, and this bow is no exception. So it is a little bit, it's lighter, it's really compact, but because of what they had to do to get the specifications that this bow has, they had to decrease the weight of the poundage that the limbs could come in. So I'm sure everybody wants to know about speed. Speed was a big thing for me when I had shot multiple bows, and I'll talk about that in a little while, trying to decide on what I wanted. I'm upgrading from a Bear Cruiser G2. I've shot it for the last 4 years. It's been a great little bow, but I was ready for something a little bit harder hitting, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to shoot everything I could shoot. Part of the reason I started this channel was because there's not a lot out there for women, and I want to help you make informed decisions with as much information as possible. So the speed rating, the day that HOYT dropped this bow, I had ordered their Torex XT. Great little bow. I shot it in one of our pro shops and kind of fell in love with the feel, honestly. And I had heard that HOYT was going to come out with a woman's bow, but the last that I'd heard, it wasn't going to be until spring, and I just couldn't wait that long. And so I ordered the Torex, and then 4 hours later, HOYT dropped this bow. So let's talk about the speed for a second. When you first glance at it, it doesn't look as impressive as it actually is, but this is a fast little bow. So there is an APA rating, which is based in feet per second. So the rating for this bow is 314 feet per second. But most APA ratings are going to be based on someone using 70-pound draw weight, and I think it's a 30-inch draw. I would have to check on that. This bow's rating is 314 on a 60-pound limb with a 28-inch draw. So the speed based on draw length and weight is incredible for this size of a bow. HOYT went above and beyond on this, and it is a fast bow. The other thing that I absolutely love, super quiet. absolutely silent. I will edit in some video of me actually shooting this. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot it in my house today, and I don't have anyone here to video it, but we did some footage earlier. So some of the really cool features you get on this bow is the machined aluminum riser. It also comes with aluminum limb pockets. We talked a little bit, it has the very specified cams that Hoyt created just for this bow to give you the speed and accuracy that you need. It also has the integrated dovetail system for the MX, the QAD MX rest, integrate rest, which is awesome. We'll talk about that in a minute. So it comes with the dovetail machined into it for the Hoyt Ultra Rest Integrate MX drop away rest, which is amazing. I highly recommend it to anyone. I'll talk about my accessories a little bit later in the video, but so it has that dovetail attachment system. It also has the attachment for a sidebar. Along with that sidebar attachment, it comes with all of the shock dampening that you would expect from Hoyt's lines. It has the limb shocks, it has the stealth dampeners, and it has the shock pads. So you've got all of this, and honestly, in your hand, I feel almost zero hand vibration. This is a powerhouse of a bow. So since we're probably all ladies here checking out this bow, let's talk colors for a minute. I have mine in the storm gray. Part of the reason that I got the storm gray is because my husband also has, he shoots the Hoyt Axius Ultra in the storm gray. I'm going to show you it in a minute just because I want to show you some comparison on the grip. So what Hoyt did with this woman's bow as well, if you can see, is with their grip, it has the same comfort grip that all of their flagship bows has, but they narrowed this to fit a woman's hand better and to be more ergonomically correct for that small framed, small hand archer. So this bow really is just a miniature or shrunk down version of their Axius. I feel like they're very comparable. So this is my husband's Ultra, Axius Ultra, and this is the Eclipse. So very, very comparable in look. One thing I was a little surprised, I think most people who had been anticipating this release were surprised by, is that it does not come with roller cable guards. It's just a slider. I don't know why Hoyt did that. I'm assuming that they were just trying to save on weight of this bow. I don't know how much that really makes a difference. But the more I researched it, it was a little bit of a hang up for me at first. But the more I researched it, it's not that big of a deal. Your rollers may give you minimal amounts of more speed. There may be a little less drag. Some people will tell you that it makes your strings last longer. In reality, maybe all those things are true, but it's by a very, very small margin. And so for me, that wasn't a deal breaker. You also have an option. It's super cheap to go in and put a roller guard on. So if you want a roller guard and that's something that you feel like you can't live without, then go in and put one on this bow. But it's not worth passing it up. I feel like it's also at a really good price point. All right, so let's talk draw cycle for a minute. I'm not going to actually draw this in my house right now, but this bow has such a smooth draw cycle. One of my friends who drew it was like, this thing draws like butter, and it really does. I'm coming from a bear cruiser, so anything's gonna potentially feel a little better than that, honestly, but this bow is like a dream. It's a really smooth draw through the valley, and then the let off comes right at the perfect time, and then you hit that wall. And I just am really impressed. I really like it a lot. I actually really love it a lot. That's why I ended up ultimately purchasing it. And honestly, obviously, I purchased it without ever shooting it, but I have absolutely no regrets. Let's talk a little bit about the accessories that I chose for this bow and why I chose them. So if you can see this, I went with the black gold mountain light sight. It's basically the verdict, the black gold verdict, but they've lightened it up. But it basically is the same sight, just a little bit lighter. So I went with a 3-pin because I have a 4-pin on my old bow, and I really love the ability to just point and shoot. Like, I am looking at starting into hunting next year, and I wanted to have that set pin system where if I'm up in a tree or if something comes in that I already know some yardages that I can just point and shoot. I'm not messing with a full roller. My husband shoots the Spot Hog roller, and he really, really likes it, but it's a heavy sight, and he doesn't have quite the versatility that this does when it comes to being out in the field and needing to take a quick shot without knowing exact distances. So that's why I went with the 3-pin. I also, though, what I love about this is you get the beauty of having multiple pins, but you also get it in a roller. So I can adjust my roller. It has 2 indicators. So when my roller is all the way to the top, I am set up at 20, 30, and 40, and I can just shoot 20, 30, and 40. But if I'm out shooting 3D, which is what I typically do, then I have the ability to range in exact yardages, and then mine is set up so that my indicators meet up with my, sorry, this is hard to see, with my top and my bottom pin. So my top pin is set at 20, my bottom's set at 40, but then as I roll, I can roll down to very specific yardages. And I love it. It's like the best of both worlds. So that's why I chose the black gold mountain light. All right, let's talk about rest. Look at how streamlined that drop away rest is. I know that I mentioned that I went with the HOYT QAD Integrate Rest. It attaches directly to your riser via a Dovetail system that is machined into the riser. So it makes it incredibly stable. I've never shot another drop away, so I don't have a ton to compare it to, but I love it. I love, love, love it. It's also lighter, which obviously, like, Hoyt made this bow incredibly light, but let's be honest, when you're out hiking around, covering the mountains for hours and hours, you want to have the lightest equipment possible that's gonna do what you need it to do. So I went with the Ultra Rest because this Eclipse is already equipped with that dovetail attachment system. It's super easy to use. You just knock your arrow, and then there's this little lever, and when you push the lever with your thumb, it pulls your rest up, and then you can flick it to bring it back down if you need to. It's a string driven drop away rather than a limb driven. So it will pop up. You can just have your arrow sitting there. It will pop up as you draw. But I like to put mine up so that everything's ready to go when I'm getting ready to shoot. All right, so stabilizer. I went with a pretty inexpensive stabilizer. This is a Black Mountain. It's a carbon stabilizer. And then I added a quick release so that I just pop it in and it's in because it won't fit, my bow won't fit in my case with my stabilizer on. So with this is a 10-inch, and I shot quite a few and I just liked the feel of this. Like with my bow out, it just settled right into target at full draw and was just stable. So why pay more for something? I'm sure there are better out there, but I have been really happy with this, and the quick connect is worth its weight in gold. You just twist, pop off, slip in, twist, and you're ready to go. I also happen to be kind of a do-it-yourselfer. Usually I run my own business. This is my office, and I would typically be the one that like made my own wrist sling just because I like to make my own stuff. But for this bow build, I decided to go through a local Etsy shop and support my fellow small business person. So I don't know if you can see that. I had AP Design Creations. Actually, it's AP Rustic Creations. Sorry about that. AP Rustic Creations made my bow sling, and it goes perfect with these strings. I love just like the little pops of color. I didn't want anything too crazy, but I feel like that turned out exactly the way I wanted it. All right, so let's talk about the details for a minute. When I shoot, I feel like the accuracy is really great. It feels really good in my hand. This grip I really, really like. The one thing that was a little hard for me to get used to, it may be my only complaint, and it's just because I'm not used to this. If you can see Hoyt machines in this ridge, which I think eventually I'll really like because your fingers just naturally kind of fall there. But at first I didn't really like the feel on my hand. I love the rest of the grip. So bottom line, would I buy this bow again? Yes, I would. What are some of the reasons? I went and I shot the Eva Shockey, the Carbon Rose, the Matthews Avail, and the Elite Ember, and the Torex, the Hoyt Torex, before ultimately putting my money down on this beauty. Why did I make those decisions? I, based on specs and all of my research, would have bet that I would want the Eva Shockey. I was like, I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna bring it home. I walked in, I am a designer, so from a woman's standpoint, aesthetic matters to me, and I liked the riser. I liked the look of the riser. It's silly that that even makes a difference, but I did. I walked in, I shot it a few times. It shoots super smooth, like leaps and bounds from where I'm coming from. The things I didn't like, it was actually too light. I felt like I was floating around too much. The deal breaker for me though on it and the Carbon Rose was the grip. I felt like I was holding on to a brick of wood. Like it just felt square in my hand, and I just couldn't get over that. I actually surprisingly liked the draw cycle of the Carbon Rose better than I liked the Eva Shockey. The Eva Shockey's by Bowtech. The Carbon Rose, I believe, is Diamond by Bowtech. I'll have to check that. Anyway, so that was kind of a deal breaker for me. I didn't fall in love with it like I thought I would, and so I started looking other places. I can't say a bad thing about the Avail. I shot it. I loved it. But I didn't like how it was too specified for me. I want a little more versatility in my bow as far as draw weight and draw length, and plus they stopped making them. So Matthews discontinued their Avail. It's almost impossible to find one, and I did really like it. It sat really well in my hand. This bow I also haven't talked about. I feel like it balances really well. Side to side, it's phenomenal. Like if I was adding a quiver, I don't love a quiver and I'm not hunting right now, so I don't have one on there. But it has that sidebar attachment that's super quick and awesome. So balance-wise, this is a phenomenal bow. I did like the Avail, but I would have to say that I like this bow more. And bows are personal preference. I also shot the Elite Ember. It was smooth. I don't have any specific complaint about it other than like, it just didn't wow me really. So, then I shot the Torex, and obviously I liked the Torex because I actually ordered one, but then I canceled it. So the bottom line is this bow is a great step up. I feel like this bow will give you years and years and years. I feel like it has versatility. I feel like it has the speed. It has the power. Color wise, we were going to talk colors. It comes in all of their flagship colors. The black and this storm gray come with this beautiful, they call it electric blue. I think it's stunning. It's hard to tell from their pictures. I was a little worried it was more turquoise than it actually is. But I think it's phenomenal. So those strings come standard on the black and the storm gray, which is what I have. I'm also kind of in love with the Elevate Optifade, let's be honest. So it comes in multiple camo colors. The Optifade would be my next choice. In fact, if I buy another bow, I might just buy myself an Optifade in the Elevate too. But they have multiple color options. It's just a great bow. It feels so good in your hands. And there have been so many times where I have just had like the most phenomenal surprise shots. Like, I can't complain. Really, really minimal, if any, hand shock. I feel like I don't experience hand shock with this bow, especially with all of the features that HOYT adds to their bows in order to minimize vibration. Draw cycle's phenomenal. I don't have a complaint about it because of the speed and these tiny little cams. I mean, these are teeny tiny little cams. You might feel a little bit of jumpiness. Jumpiness, is that a word? I don't know if that's a word, but that's what we're gonna call it. A little bit of jumpiness, just because this is an aggressive bow. They built it for speed, they built it for power, but if you're a small framed archer, I would say check it out.